Right now, the banners are unfurled. The National Mall is packed and the sky is lighting up. This year, America turns 250, 2.5 centuries of a grand experiment based on a simple promise: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We love the fireworks, we love the symbolism. While this country is busy celebrating where we started, the machinery of power is quietly deciding where we're going. You see, because in just a few months, past the fireworks, lies November, the 2026 midterm elections. And if you look past the red, white, and blue smoke, the systemic reality looks very different. We see a landscape where voting maps are being aggressively redrawn to dilute our voices, and where institutional barriers are being locked into place before the first ballot is even cast. The system is hyper focused on who controls the gavel, but it remains fundamentally blind to whether or not the people actually have any power. But we can't just blame the architects of the system. We really need to look in the mirror. It's easy to be cynical, stay home, and let apathy win. But apathy is a luxury we can't afford. Symbolic progress doesn't protect your rights, and political loyalty shouldn't be given away for free. If we really want the promise of 1776, we have to stop settling for optics and demand concrete substance. Welcome to Thoughts of a Free Man. I'm your host, Atticus Freeman, and I'm here to encourage you. Don't just watch the fireworks this year. Make sure that you're ready to shift the foundation. Let's get into it. Thomas Jefferson wrote these words: "We hold these truths to be self evident, that all men are created equal, and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." However, this same Thomas Jefferson enslaved more than 600 people in his lifetime, which include Sally Hemings and the children that they produced together. On July 4th of 1776, an estimated 450,000 to 500,000 people were enslaved in the 13 American colonies. So I guess that all men are created equal, that they're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are not truths that were self evident to the founding fathers. Now, I know what people are going to say. That's the past. Why are you bringing up old stuff? However, these same people are spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on fireworks alone to celebrate an event that happened in the past 250 years ago. So it seems that we, and I say we because we're in this together, we love to celebrate the founding of this great free country, yet 500,000 people were enslaved on the founding day. And the crazy part is that those 500,000 people are directly responsible for building this great country. However, if somebody even mumbles the word reparations, a vast majority of this country would look at them like they just stood up and cursed in the middle of church. Well, unless we're talking about reparations for the January 6th insurrectionists, then we're very comfortable with the word reparations. But I digress. For the past 250 years, the U.S. government has failed to fully commit to the idea that all men and women are created equal and have the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, we can't change what happened 250 years ago, but we have total control over what happens in the House and the Senate in November. The question is, how are we going to use this control? Let's start by talking about a game that's being played behind closed doors, long before you even step into the voting booth. And this game is called the map game, otherwise known as gerrymandering. Right now, in state legislators across this country, politicians aren't waiting to see how you'll vote. They're using advanced algorithms and data sets to choose their voters before their voters choose them. They'll take a map, they'll look at the neighborhoods, and they'll slice them up. If they see a heavy concentration of black and brown constituents who traditionally vote a certain way, they do one of two things: they pack them or they crack them. They'll pack as many minority voters as possible into a single solitary district to ensure that those minorities only get one voice. Or they'll crack the neighborhoods into pieces, scattering them across multiple white conservative districts so that the collective voice is entirely diluted. And if you don't believe me, let's look at what happened in the Supreme Court with Louisiana versus Calise. The highest court in the land weakened protections against racial gerrymandering, giving a green light to mid decade redistricting that directly impacts the balance of power in the 120th Congress. It's a system designed to predetermine outcomes. It tells you that your vote is your power while secretly changing the boundaries so that your power never actually threatens the status quo. And while they're busy rigging the chessboard, what are they using to keep us distracted? You guessed it, the economy. So let's take a look at the affordability crisis. Over 3/4 of Americans say that the rising cost of living is the single biggest source of anxiety heading into these midterm elections. Inflation is sticky, grocery bills are higher than ever, and the median age of first-time home buyers has jumped to 40 years old. So, for most working class people, the middle class lifestyle is entirely out of reach. But watch how the two-party system handles this pain. They don't give us concrete policy solutions, they weaponize it. They turn your empty wallets into campaign slogans. One side points the finger and says that the current administration is all about corporate greed, while the other side blames federal regulation and taxes. Now, they both collect millions in campaign contributions from the very corporate interests and algorithmic landlords who are driving up the rent of this great country. They don't want to fix the affordability crisis because if they fixed it, they couldn't use your anger to raise money and flip seats. So they're literally trading on our survival. The system is playing chess while they're keeping us distracted with checkers. But the board only works if we let them move the pieces. And here's the hard part of the conversation, the part of the conversation that we really don't want to hear. And that's the part where we have to look in the mirror. Because when the system is playing the map game and when politicians are using our economic pain as megaphones, it's incredibly easy for us to become cynical, to throw up our hands and look at the ballot and say, why even bother? The game is rigged anyway. Now, I get the frustration, but let me tell you something. Apathy is not a luxury that we can afford. And think about it logically. If your vote didn't carry real weight, special interest groups wouldn't be spending hundreds of millions of dollars trying to suppress it, dilute it, or manipulate it. They're fighting desperately for these lines because they know what happens if we actually show up and disrupt their plans. When we choose not to vote out of cynicism, we aren't protesting the system, we're conceding to it. We're literally handing over our power without even having them work for it. We have to change the way that we vote. For decades, our community has handed over unconditional political loyalty to one side of the aisle. And what have we gotten in return for it? Rhetoric, promises, and sympathy. We need to start demanding a return on that investment. No longer can we give away our political capital for free just because the candidate looks like us or says the right thing at a church rally. We have to demand concrete legislative returns, a real investment on local economic mobility, protection against predatory housing algorithms, and federal voting rights safety net. Now, I understand that we need a change in the executive branch of this country, but we also need to stop focusing only on who sits in the Oval Office or who controls the Senate gavel. The laws that dictate your daily life, the judges who sit in your local courtrooms, the city council members who zone your neighborhoods, the school boards that decide what your kids read or don't read. Those are the people that we need to hold accountable. Those are the votes that are going to change this country in the upcoming midterm election. Accountability doesn't start in Washington, D.C. It starts down the street. It starts in your own backyard. They're counting on us to stay at home in November because they want a quiet, predictable electorate, which is exactly why we have to make it loud. And how do we do that, Atticus? I'm so glad that you asked. We can do this in 3 ways. Number one, check your voter registration status early. Don't wait until October. Number two, research down ballot local candidates with the same energy that you use for the national figures. And finally, hold local community forums or just spark a difficult conversation with family members and friends about what political return on investment looks like for your particular neighborhood. The 250th anniversary of this nation shouldn't just be us looking back at where America started. It needs to be an audit on where we currently stand. The founders drew up the blueprint, but it is up to us to build the reality. Change how you think, change how you operate, and then we can change the system. I'm your host, Atticus Freeman. Thank you for tuning in to Thoughts of a Free Man. And never forget, freedom is for those who fight for it. Keep thinking, keep fighting, and I'll catch you on the next episode.